6th annual day. I hope you like the new campus and appreciate the changes from our old palace.
Yes, I visited your old campus often. When the structural designs were being done, I saw the designs. It's the same architect, Delhi-based architect, but it's come out. To see it actually finally in three-dimensional space is very pleasant, extremely good. And I think younger people who've joined CDRI now, or who are now relatively young, have no business to complain about facility that looks extremely well organized now.
Thank you for the compliment. Dr. Chauhan headed the International Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology for a number of years. He is a researcher who's moved from peptide chemistry to biology to molecular biology to vaccinology to tuberculosis disease. And he's also been at the forefront of a movement of sorts to popularize science among society and to take on ill-informed activist opinion. And I would like you, sir, to expand a little on the role of naysayers in controlling research funding.
I'm not sure about the naysayers control the funding, but naysayers can really put hurdles which are ill-informed, not necessary. I am not believer of that there should be no accountability, there should be no resistance to what scientists are saying. I think it should be debated. But problem which I personally believe is that the scientists do not go out and remove the confusion or have a clear voice to say that this is really a hurdle which is a motivated hurdle or ill-informed hurdle. So scientists has to be a little bit more vocal, more clear, and of course not at the sake of accuracy. It should be accurate information the scientist must. Now this is not an easy job. Even for a scientist, if he or she has to communicate, he or she slightly out of his or her own field, or even within the field, has to be very well informed what is happening in the field. So while it is necessary, I think, but it has to be done carefully.
A little more on the care part, because many of my colleagues, I won't, of course, claim that they're not my colleagues, but many of my colleagues have a tendency to overclaim. And as you say, if one is not very careful and one is not rigorous enough, your exhortation for scientists to go out in the field and be vocal about their work might be more than a double-edged sword.
There's no question. I personally believe that if you've done good quality piece of work, then you don't have to be vocal about your own work. I think good work will be recognized. When I said we should be careful in going out and talking to the society, you can take an example. For example, vaccination. There is a popular belief, or was created a popular belief, that too much vaccination would be cause of autism. One wrong paper published somewhere and then cited by people who are not scientists. Now, scientists often have not come around and say, look, this is not correct. And when I say we have to be careful, when you say you're not correct, you have to be very, very careful and solid ground to say why it is not correct. So your information about, or background information, when I say it's not very easy, the scientist who wants to communicate, I didn't mean his own work. For example, I'll never go out and say, look here, my malaria vaccine is very good. I think that's a lousy way of saying. But if I were to say a challenge on vaccination, or GMO or genetically modified food have health hazard, then I need to collect very good quality information and go out and say this is incorrect. And here is the evidence. That's what I mean.
Traditionally, this job has been left to science journalists, and many distinguished alumni of variously, respectable institutions have moved into science journalism, and they are doing a reasonably good job in publications, mainly from the south, but also elsewhere. Do you think that there is some danger of the scientist losing objectivity when one takes on the problem of engaging with society in order to crusade, as it were, for science?
See that you said there are a number of journalists who've done good quality work. Personally, I feel there is a dearth of good quality journalism in science. Journalists normally would come and listen to the scientist, a scientist, and I think doesn't do due diligence and prints it. It's not a criticism of journalists. I think journalists are overstressed right now. There are only handful of good journalists. For journalists to do a good job of what he is going to write, if my overclaim or underclaim is to, he has to do his own research before he publishes. For example, if I say I have a very good candidate for TB vaccine and I just show you the data, but as a journalist, it's my duty to see what else exists somewhere. Am I right in saying? I think that diligence is missing. Secondly, journalists often at least have told me, you are always defensive that, this is, do not want to overclaim. He says his stories really have to have some if not provocative, but it has to have some message. Now, oftentimes, if you're looking at some really good quality outcome files, there are no easy, immediate messages. There are good quality attempts. There are good quality things that you want to say. India is doing this, but it's a huge ripe fruit. More often than doesn't happen. What worries me about journalism is, for example, you say, next malaria vaccine candidate identified. We'll have malaria vaccine in 5 years. I think that's lousy journalism.
Since we have reached running out of time, I'll remind you of the anecdote. I think you yourself brought this to our attention, that Mahatma Gandhi in the 1930s actually viewed immunization as quote-unquote black magic, and it took Jamnalal Bajaj to make him change his mind. But Gandhi as a politician was mature enough to be able to change a mind when it is made up, that fighting fire with fire, as it were, immunizing with a pathogen that has been attenuated, seemed to him in the 1920s as like black magic. Do you think that our policy and let us say administrative field is as willing to be convinced about issues such as GMOs or in vaccinations that have generated so much passion as to make the public believe that they are actually black magic?
I don't think, so a short answer to that is no. I don't see that passion in the people who should be passionate about it. Now then you can ask a question, why should a bureaucrat be passionate about it? He is not defensive, but he's careful. So once again it comes down to having access. That's what I said in my lecture. You must access good quality scientists and his opinion. I think that dialogue in India is missing. You either have accentuated one side or the accentuated other side. And other accentuated side is normally quiet. Scientists are normally quiet. They become defensive. For example, is there a very clear, strong statement from scientists in a coherent manner that GMO, a kind of GMO we want to bring, are harmless? I don't see that happening. And I think that should happen. I mean, it took a Bruce Albert to come to India and give an interview in Hindu, with one of the best interviews, completely food any criticism that was coming. That was 4 years back. Bureaucrats have taken no notice of that interview.
Well, thank you, sir, for your advice and information. A message for the young guys from our institution?
I think young people are very well trained. They have tremendous advantage on people like me who entered. They should take this advantage in great hand. Work hard and work honestly. Honest work will please you, will bring pleasing outcomes. I don't think there should be any shade of dishonesty in your work.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.